Hello, I'm APX Toycat, and sometimes I wish there were cameras you could place in Minecraft, because sometimes you're working on a really big project, chipping away at something huge, and it'd be really cool to watch the progress happen. This is what my sugarcane farm looks like now, for instance, and 2 hours later, it looks like this. Significantly improved and closer to being a finished sugarcane farm that will go all the way down to Bedrock, but for now, it is an incomplete project, and so sadly, I'm gonna have to suffer without all of the sugarcane that I otherwise could farm. Very sad, I know, but this is just one of the many incomplete projects in this Minecraft world, and today I figured it'd be fun to catalogue as many of them as I humanly can, because yeah, the world is filled with things that are unfinished. I have a big problem with starting projects and then maybe moving on. I think this is a natural thing in Minecraft, but I probably do it more than anyone else, and so today I want to show you some examples of this because my world is absolutely filled with them. First of all, we have the Deep Slate Mountain. This is an acacia biome that I built from scratch. Obviously, it's meant to just be a mountain, but I covered it in trees and it's kind of nice. Then I figured it'd be kind of fun to replace the stone, or at least cover the stone, in a layer of deep slate, because seeing deep slate this high up, it's kind of jarring. It was a fun idea. However, as you can see, the deep slate never quite finished, and so we have just one part of a mountain that kind of abruptly stops. Clearly needs some improvement. Another thing that abruptly stops is my wheat farm. This is a wheat farm that was meant to go all the way up to sky height, or back then sky high at least, and as you can see, even though I have wheat far higher than any person should, as we go higher and higher up, the wheat starts to thin out because I've just never actually hoed all of the ground required and to go all the way up here, because farming all of the seeds individually and replanting them does take a lot more time than with sugarcane, and so I've never done it. 2 entirely incomplete projects that leave me starving for more wheat and wishing I had more Deep Slate Mountains. But both of those things pale in comparison to this, because this was my attempt at building an end in the overworld. The goal was that I was going to just have so much end stone in every direction that on low render distances, it would genuinely look like I was in the end. Why did I decide to do this around my also incomplete Guardian area, my ocean monument that I've drained fully, but not fully because it's also incomplete, like I said? I have no clue why I decided this, and I also have no clue why I spent literally tens of thousands of endstone. I spent so many hours placing these, and then I couldn't even work out on a consistent scale whether I want it to be circle or I want it to be square. So instead I've got this weird semicircle, half square kind of format that just doesn't make any sense to anyone. It's very confusing, and I guess you could say I never reached the end of this project, and it's very sad. Speaking of sad things, this is one that you could probably argue is complete in its own way, because I built all of Great Britain over here. However, I figured it'd be fun to have all sorts of places on maps, and so the goal next would have been to make Ireland, but it just took so long and so many blocks and like a lot of pain, like following a map 1 block by 1 block, that I just decided, you know what, I've got the UK, and that's technically enough. So actually, I'm not going to count this as an incomplete project. This is just, I think this is a good example of what to do when you run out of steam on a project. Rather than leaving it unfinished, like with every other thing in this video, you know, work out a boundary to call it finished for now, so that you can expand it later if you want to, but you're under no pressure to do so. Because I would actually say I'm under some pressure to finish my Catan board. Obviously, this is not Catan, sorry, it's another hexagon-based game. Very coincidental that it looks like this. It's so almost finished, it's just missing a single granite block and then a few dirt blocks here and there. I genuinely don't know why this isn't finished. It would be quite easy to do, right? But yeah, I never did finish this, and I'd say I'm under some amount of pressure to do so. It would be much nicer if this was a finished project, but right now, it's one of these 99% finished projects that I genuinely just forget about, and like, what am I gonna do? Bring 1 granite and 40 dirt blocks over here? Nah, I'm just gonna leave it incomplete forever, just like I've done with this big divide which I have going through the world. My goal was to literally cut the world into 2 pieces, my Xbox 360 size world, I should say, and, speaking of 360, aren't there fun things happening with that soon, perhaps? But as you can see, I did a pretty good job going below the surface and making a clear divide, but it doesn't go all the way down to bedrock like I liked, and also I ran into so many issues with, like, going under lakes, because when we went under the lakes, we had to keep the water up somehow, and so I placed as many signs as I could in some places, and I also just have areas like this that don't fully make sense. Is this a project that's worth the time? Probably not. I mean, it's really cool in some areas, like, again, look at this. I literally left the water floating by using dirt. It's, sorry. It's such an interesting thing to look at, but at the same time, was it worth all of the time and pain and effort I put into this? Most people would probably say no, and now that their world goes double as deep, it's extra not worth it. But it is just so cool to see a weird gap in the world like this. And so I kind of like it anyway. Speaking of things that I like, I wanted to make a giant island in the sky at world height, and so I put all of the effort into like making sure the ground wouldn't get dark. I have no idea why I used shroom lights and why I went in this pattern. Also, it looks like a creeper's blown up here. But I did go for a lot of effort to make sure this thing would work. However, then 1.19 came out, and 1.18 came out, sorry. I went through all of the effort in getting a villager up here. Oh man, it's such a high climb. We're gonna have to actually take the ladder for this one. I gave him a tool station, a stonecutter. I gave him a bed, and I even got a skeleton horse up here, because I was bored and I figured a skeleton horse would make my island better. And you know what happened to my villager? He despawned because there is... Oh no! Okay, he despawned. Oh no! Okay, well this is a dead horse now. But you know what happened to the villager? He despawned just like that horse despawned, except it wasn't even my fault with the villager, and it really is a heartbreaking thing. Honestly, you know what? The views from up here would have been amazing if I'd have been able to have my villagers and make them breed and stuff, but I can't have them do that. Just like I can't finish. Honestly, this next one's kind of embarrassing that I haven't finished it, because I genuinely don't know how I would finish it. Most of these projects I can see like, oh yeah, what I'd have to do is this, that. This over here is a wood factory. So this is a bed. Pretty finished project. I like it. It doesn't make any sense in this world, but I have it anyway. But this was a wood factory, and so I don't know if I'm meant to build a ceiling to this, because obviously the leaves would go through it and over it. So how would I just build the walls higher and higher and higher and higher? That doesn't really seem like it makes too much sense either. So what I have instead is a factory made of wood with a few lovely little pieces in there, and one of our builds that doesn't make sense anymore, that just is unfinished and doesn't make any sense. I also feel as though this area right here next to it looks like it shouldn't be forest anymore, but it just kind of is. Speaking of things that shouldn't be anymore, one of my really great tiny ideas that I was sure I could finish but then didn't was this. It was meant to be a diagonal staircase all the way down to Bedrock, and for some reason it just, as you can see, there's a big gap here where it stops being the same. You know, I should have dug this out and continued it down, but I didn't. And so my lovely cube idea, it was meant to look like a cube looking down there, now looks like a weird cuboid, box, hexagon style thing. I'm not sure what it is, but it was a cool idea that I just never finished because I think I'm the king of not finishing projects when it comes to Minecraft. I start projects and I never finish them. And again, I think it's really good to get in a habit of not doing that, but I also feel as though it's important to say you don't have to finish projects that you're not enjoying. If you are bored of something, feel free to move on to the next thing, which I think I take that a little bit too liberally, as you're going to see. Because next up here, this is a weird one. This is my Obsidian Desert. I took a desert and I replaced the sand with obsidian. Do you know how long it takes to mine obsidian? Do you know how long it takes to mine obsidian? Do you know all of the effort that I went through to make this? And what did I build here? Well, an end ship, that makes sense. I built an end version of a desert temple. I mean, like, why? Why did I do this? It's nice. It would have been a great finished project, perhaps we can assume. However, then I started building a 2x2 scaled end city without realizing how large of a build that was and that I didn't have enough purple. Or maybe it's endstone bricks, but I didn't have the blocks for it. And so instead I just have this, a delightfully unfinished place that doesn't really have a business or a reason to exist. I think a great thing I could do here is put some form of useful something here. You know, a farm or something maybe. But for now, the only great thing about this biome is if a creeper explodes, you know, you wanna mess up my biome, ruin my building? Yeah, good luck, creeper. You wanna know how that goes for you? That's how it goes. So yeah, it's pretty cool to cover a biome in obsidian for the creeper benefits. But mostly right now, I just use it for farming moss. In fact, I used it for farming moss, because there's a whole separate world happening under here. Because of course I destroyed the desert to get sand. I've destroyed every desert in this world, honestly. It's a whole problem I have. Why do I have so many furnaces here? That's an interesting thing. Anyway, speaking of interesting things, this is one the OGs will recognize because honestly, I didn't even like think it through fully before building it. I was like, I'm gonna make a minecart elevator and I'm gonna build it out of wool blocks and lapis lazuli. Those blocks would go quite well together. And then as you can see, I built the thing and I even put some minecarts in, but I don't think I finished placing the minecarts. And also, because I didn't have enough lapis or wool blocks, I used dirt for the side so I could make the rails. And then I just never finished the tower up. I placed glass on this side. So it's 1 block of glass, 2 blocks of, 1 block of, I guess, lapis, or 2 blocks of lapis, 2 blocks of wool. It just doesn't make any sense. What is this entire thing? Why do I have a ladder going halfway up on the back? It is one of the most confusing builds. And the fact that at the base I have this like wooden house that also doesn't have a doorway, that is also slightly wonky, that also just... you know, why does anything exist? It doesn't make any sense. I should finish this one day. You know, finishing really old projects might be a fun idea sometime. But for now, I just laugh at old me and go, yep, never gonna finish that, am I? Which is the fun way for things to be. I technically have finished this furnace house, I'd say. I'm actually pretty proud of it. Do you like it? It's one of those builds that I actually look at and I go, yeah, I think I did something not terrible here. However, something where I can't say the same is necessarily true is when you look at the rest of this world. Honestly, when you look at anything in this world that isn't that furnace house, I've got one good build. I'd argue I like my volcano too, although it's technically not finished. As you can see, there's a few blocks up there that need to have Netherrack placed on them. Do you see that? That's a lazy mistake by me. I mean, can't believe I did that. There's also a few other things we could clearly improve and work on. The volcano is finished from the exterior, but as you can see if we go down here, the interior could do with some work and also less fire starting. Seems like a good idea. I hope that those signs can't burn, because if they can, things are going to be very problem-filled. So yeah, as you can see, I built this whole lovely interior that just isn't for anything, you know? Like, I think having a nether portal connect here would have been really cool, but I didn't set that up, so it isn't very cool. And yeah, it's just kind of strange. Just like Mince Rat is kind of strange. That's not unfinished, that's artistic decision. I decided that Mince Rat is better than Minecraft, which, tell me I'm wrong. I'm definitely not wrong. Just like how I decided this bridge was apparently finished. Despite, by the way, can I point out the silliness in this bridge? It connects an island that has nothing on it besides a crafting table. Like, I ride boats to this island anyway, and then I would cross the bridge, but the bridge has the connective structures in the middle, so you have to go around them, which is kind of weird. And then it connects this island incorrectly and incompletely, by the way. Like, it's just one stone block. I could have done that, man. But yeah, so it incompletely and incorrectly then links to this stone pillar, and then this stone pillar is just a bunch of slabs going around a stone box on the inside. Seriously, you could argue this is some version of complete, but I definitely wouldn't. It's one of those things that you can very easily look at and say, needs some work, probably should have something done to it. And then you can move on and think about the next thing you've got to do, because this is a castle that I built from cobblestone and smooth stone just after they added smooth stone to the game. But then I ran out of smooth stone and cobblestone, and I was like, well, I'll just come back later. And I don't think I've thought about it a single time since 2018 or 19 when I would have built that. So, you know what? Next time I come across this, I'll totally finish that. If you hit the subscribe button, that's right. If this video gets 1,000 likes, did I just change my mind half? Yeah, definitely. I said likes earlier. Then, or if we get 3,117 likes, I'll finish this ugly building. How does that sound? Also, here's another unfinished spot on the giant volcano. Again, covering the mountain in Netherrack, really cool idea. But like finding those last spots to fill in was just so torturous, and I guess I just didn't in a few places. It's an easy mistake to make, right? Oh, here's one I didn't even know was unfinished. The toy cat statue with one arm. I guess I only finished the front of it. I didn't even know till just now it's unfinished, but apparently the back went nowhere. Speaking of the back going nowhere, this giant chest is also unfinished. There's just a giant back entrance that goes nowhere, and also the front, apparently. This was meant to be my chest storage for the TU31 world. When an update came out, I figured rather than starting a new world, I would start a new area off my world with no tools, and so I came over here. It was pretty fun. I made this, and I placed precisely 2 chests in there, one of which is filled with packed ice. That's actually pretty cool, and the other of which is empty. So, go me, I guess. This next one is really sad because it's like almost finished as a facade, but if you look around anywhere, you'll see that it's not. This is the old battle minigame lobby. A lot of people have looked at this and said, how did you get this here? Where did you get the files? And I built it by looking at the Wii U edition of Minecraft and then painstakingly block by block, just replacing everything. It's pretty cool to look at, in my opinion. Like, it really is a fun reminder of those days, of the chests, of all the stuff in that. I like this place a lot. It gives me very fond memories. Obviously, none of the interiors of any of the rooms are complete, because, like, I had to chop down a lot of trees for this. But still, I get very strong nostalgia vibes coming back to this one. It makes me, honestly, taking inventory of this makes me want to, like, go around and finish it. Because I know there should be an iron door there. I know there should be some other furniture here. I think I might have to do that sometime. Because it's just, it's such a cool place. Like, doing the little parkour to get up to the roof. Do you remember this? I remember this. So, oh, man, I'm having the feels right now. Apparently, I made the whole rooftop thing work just fine. And then we jumped down to the slime block. See, it all works out. Speaking of things that all work out, I should probably, at the very least I should do is place the slime blocks. And then we can work on everything else after that, I guess. You know, yeah, there's a lot of things in here that could do with some working. Speaking of things that could do with some working, this is my drained ocean. This all used to be water just like that did, and now it is exposed to the elements like this. And even though I'm really proud of what I accomplished in about 24 hours of game time, it was a lot of streams, we're being honest. And even though I think I sectioned off the project quite well, this little natural edge, this clearly to me looks like, you know, it's frozen up, it's quite nice. This is clearly a sign of a project that could have gone further. Should we go further? Should we make secret tunnels under it? Should we do stuff like that? I don't know for sure. I just know that it was taking so long, and I realized that we would, you know, start to not enjoy it if we went further. But that still means the project is unfinished, as nice as it is. Also, Skeleton Horse is up there, which I think is a perfect place for him to be. It allows me to climb up if I do this, right? There we go. Look at that. Look how high we can climb just using a horse. But also, along the same lines, if you look over there, you can see I had a lava pipe. The goal was, it's an oil rig, right? So by draining the ocean from all its lava, it evaporated the ocean as the law behind this part of the world. But placing lava inside of a pipe and making it look natural was just so hard, and so I just did a very bad job at it. You know, I probably could improve on that, but I didn't. I do like this wall right here. I think that's quite nicely finished. But again, the pipe needs to be filled with lava to do its job effectively. Maybe we should just fill the pipe with lava. I think, as you can see over there, that's nicely filled, so we just gotta fill the pipe. Should be easy enough to do. Some future time, perhaps. So this next one is unfinished in a few different ways. First of all, we never placed all of the wood to make this kind of like guard tower thing finished. It's not like it's even a large amount of wood. It just, I kept not bringing enough to do it, and then I'd bring some more wood, and it wouldn't be enough, and then I just got so annoyed with doing that I never did properly put it together. And another thing that, like, again, would be simple enough, but that just, I know I haven't also done, is I was trying to make an automatic pumpkin farm, was going to use some observer blocks, and was going to make it all happen, and I just kind of never did. Whenever I do farm blocks here, I do it manually, which is, you know, not the ideal way to do things. Also, the other way that this isn't properly finished, I mean, we'll ignore the Hungarian flags for now. The other way this place isn't properly finished is I really need more villagers. Right now, and I wish I'd done this before, this is one of those few times I genuinely regret not having bred more villagers, because this villager, this farmer, will trade me melon slices in exchange for emeralds, an insanely OP trade. In fact, a trade so OP that if you make a farmer post 1.17, I think it is, they trade melon blocks. This is a much fairer way, in my opinion. I mean, I think 4 melon blocks is probably too many. But yeah, they nerfed the trade, but all of your old villagers can keep it. So if I'd have just got thousands of farmers earlier, like I wish I had, then I would have all of those trades locked in now. And maybe that's a, you know, OP thing that we shouldn't have, and it's a good thing that we can't abuse something like that. But a part of me is like, but I just wish I could. Also, we don't have all of the villager types that we need all maxed out. So I think I can get enchanted armor for all the types besides, I don't think I can get any boots or a helmet. I forget which one it is. But I don't have a full set of chain armor able to be bought from them either. You know, I'd love to have a full chest of chain armor. So yeah, there's a lot of things that this village is lacking, and I just didn't spend the right amount of time. But while I wasn't spending time on actually important things like automatic farms or villagers, what I did do is I dug a hole, a giant hole that goes all the way down here for easy villager execution. Because if you want to kill a villager, if you hurt him, he takes it personally, and so does the whole village. But if you execute him via Death Pit, then they don't even know that you've done it. Let me show you. Just, you know, you're going to have to be sacrificed to the cause today, Mr. Toolsmith. Actually, maybe we shouldn't sacrifice you to the cause, but you get the idea. You know, if he was to have an accident right now, then he would fall down to his death. But he's not going to have an accident. I don't think we want that right now. Another thing I don't like is building in the Nether, but I decided to do it because one of the insane farms I figured I should have is a Netherwart Farm. Obviously, there's no point in having a manual Netherwart Farm. You can do a kind of semi-automatic one, but I thought it'd be fun regardless. And so I got my soul sand together, I got my Netherwarts together, and we do go quite high up on this thing. I even have a boat ladder because minecart ladders are a thing of the past. Now we've got boat ladders, which are the great way to go up. But I never finished the boat ladder, and I never finished placing the soul sand, mostly because of the fact that I got, they updated it, ghast started spawning more frequently, and I just kept having pains of them destroying it, and then I had to rebuild it, and then they destroy it, and I'd rebuild it, and it was so painful that I just gave up on it in the end, which is a downside. I think this is actually one of those projects I'd love to finish. In fact, all across the world, I'd say, almost all of these projects, if I could make them finished, maybe I would. A few of these I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not touching that for pole. This is one that's like, yeah, actually, there's no ghast right now. Why don't we finish it? Just like, another thing where I'd love to be finished and just, gathering the time in amongst all of the other things that I'm doing in Minecraft in a week is probably the bigger reason. But this ice pathway in the Nether, which kind of just shorts out right here, I think at the very least I should go a bit further, because I do have a bastion over here, a bastion which conveniently enough does have all of my trading. If I made a gold farm, I would need to access this regularly, because do you know where my piglins are? Right over here, and they're not very good friends of you. I've only got 4 piglins. I swear I had more than that, but still, I have a whole bastion here. I would love to do some form of big project here that isn't just having 4 piglins slowly shoot each other. And, oh yeah, wow, I've got a lot of resources I never took away from this place. Oh, I've got soul sand, which I could use to work on the farm. See? This is just a world of inspiration that's happening here. Also, more ender pearls than I could ever feasibly use. See, I think I should at the very minimum take these resources away, do something fun with them, like nether brick blocks and whatnot. Because my gosh, I'm even smelting stuff up right here. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing, but it's very interesting to see parts of the world that we just haven't touched in a while. Did you know you can find all of these things if you have the Toy Cats Let's Play World in the Marketplace? I do still want to do an update. I want to give you, as soon as we're allowed to do an update, because right now, for some reason, Marketplace rules say we can't until they've fixed a certain thing. I don't know what the certain thing is, but as soon as there's an update available, I will release one, and they're always free to download. Wow, is there a little ad spot for the Toy Cat Let's Play World in here? Yeah, there is, because if you're interested in this video, you might be interested in that. Because, yeah, there are a lot of things that I think we do need to get back into. I think this is a good taking inventory video to remind us of all the things we should get back to. Perhaps most importantly of all, though, is my automated bamboo farm. At present, I'm only getting 3 layers of bamboo, and you know what? I need more bamboo because it's so useful, because I can make, sticks from it. I need more sticks, It's just a widely known fact. No, obviously, I think the most obvious unfinished project in my world, because it's one I did a lot of streams and working towards, would have to go to something found deep below the rest of the world. I would even say it's quite dark down there too. So I'd say like, it's deep below, it's dark. So I would describe it as like a deep and dark area. Like it looks like a city, but it's like a really old one, like a super ancient kind of city, almost as ancient as you, viewer, watching this video. This is my ancient city that I'm slowly in the process of sort of building. And I think it's important now to do the work on making this like something, right? Because right now, you can see there's some really nice stuff here, but we need to make sure that it looks a bit more like an ancient city. So I think expanding that all the way across the cave to have a solid floor, that's step one. I think making sure that we have like some of the tunnels to walk around and like that structure making more sense. Those are important things to do. And so the next project that I'm coming straight back to is this ancient city. In fact, you know what? This video about unfinished projects, what if we leave this unfinished and instead we jump straight back into working on the unfinished project? Also, do you like that? A whole area covered in lanterns. But what if we go straight back into working on the unfinished project itself? Because, yeah, I think next week for the Let's Play, we'll either have this finished and you'll be able to see the whole project from start to finish, or we'll work on the soul sand farm, because clearly I can get soul sand for that. Either one of those things will be a lot of fun, and yeah, no, more seriously, there are all sorts of other unfinished projects in this world. I would argue it's all unfinished, but I hope that you all enjoyed the look into my Minecraft world today as a fun reminder that yes, there are lots of unfinished things. Maybe some of those things are good inspiration. Maybe some of those are the opposite of inspiration. You're like, man, why would you even start that? I hope that you've got one of those two things in this video, because my God, is there a long list, right? The answer is yes, there's a long list. And I hope that you enjoyed seeing about half or so. You could see every unfinished project that I could find today. And if you want to see more of them, then I don't know, subscribe and or buy the Toy Cat Let's Play World on the Marketplace. Wow, did you know it's available now? Wow, I bet you didn't know that. Only 660 mine coins? What's that in real money? I don't know. It's in the marketplace's interest that you don't know. But buy it with cash, or don't buy it. Or enjoy this video and subscribe, because I'll see you all in the next one, where I'll be finishing an unfinished project, and then after that we'll just get right back to starting more projects we never finish, because such is the beautiful cycle of the Toycat Let's Play world. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.